Hey everybody! As you know, this week is Bee Week, and we wanted to talk a little bit more about our bees here at the library. So with me today, I have Hannah Davis. She's one of our beekeepers that's helping us be an expert with our bees, just so we know what's going on, and if there's any problems, she'll be here to help us. Yep. So we're going to talk a little bit about our bees and about the really awesome things that they do. So Hannah, how did you become a beekeeper? Well, how does one do that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm a certified school gardener at my school. And so one day, many years ago, I was planting a garden and with some 5th grade boys. And they said, well, Miss Hannah, when are we going to plant the bread? And it was at that point I realized kids don't know where their food comes from. Yeah. And I said, I think this is my new mission, to teach kids and so about where their food comes from. So I found the Bee Cause Project, and for 3 years in Liberty, I said, can anyone help me? Can anyone be my bee mentor? And nobody came forward. And I said, all right, I'll just do it myself. So I took a class, and I became a beekeeper, and I fell in love, and one hive turned into 4, turned into 17, and so here I am today.
Yeah.
So I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love stories of, well, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
All right, so tell us a little bit about bees, and I know that's a broad question, but let's start with the queen. What does she do? Okay,
so the queen kind of runs the entire colony. She is in charge. She is the boss. In the height of the summer, she lays 1,500 eggs a day, and she chooses in each cell if she is going to make a boy bee, which is a drone, or a girl bee, which is a worker bee. Okay. And so she chooses that, and so here you can see some brood. It looks like cardboard a little bit. So she has laid all these eggs, and then sometimes you can see her eggs in an empty cell, and it looks like a little grain of rice.
Okay, cool. And so what happens after she lays the egg?
After she lays the egg, another bee will come by after several days after the larva stage, and they'll cap that cell. Okay. And then it turns into the adult, and then it hatches through the wax.
Oh, so it kind of goes through a metamorphosis like a butterfly.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Cool.
Yes, yes.
That's really easy to think about because we know a lot about butterflies and not so much about bees, so that makes it a little bit easier.
So egg, larva, pupae, adult, like other pollinators.
Nice, nice. So you never see tiny little baby bees, you see the larva worm, and then you have a grown-up bee.
And you can tell the age of a bee sometimes by how their dark coloring, like the darker they are, the older they are. So you can decide on, you can decipher that kind of thing, but you don't see like actual babies and then actual adults.
Right. Yeah. Cool. So tell me a little bit more about the worker bees and the drone bees. What's the difference between those two?
So a worker bee actually goes and works. They fly out, they collect pollen, they collect nectar, they come back. And drone bees can too, but drone bees are bigger and they're mostly to mate. So.
Okay. So do you have more worker bees or more drone bees?
I would say worker bees based on my experience, but you can't count them, so it's hard to know.
So the girls are the ones that do all the work.
I would say so. We're partial to that, but I would say so. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Okay, so what is some of this stuff that we can see here? Is that honey?
It looks a lot like honey. So we can tell some of this is honey collected from nectar outside because of the color. Okay. But then some of it's just sugar water because the bees have to be fed, and these bees are fed through the top. So they've built comb on the glass, and then they've just filled it with a food source, and you can see some of them in there eating and doing that. Yeah.
So what do the bees make their honey for?
They make their honey for themselves. So, so they make honey as their food source for the wintertime. And then beekeepers, when there's excess honey, come by and take it in the spring and the summer. Yep.
Awesome. Yep. So about how long does a bee live?
A bee lives anywhere from 35 to 45 days. And spring and summer bees don't live as long as a bee in the wintertime.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's really cool. Yeah. So we started with, I don't want to say a few bees. We started with a smaller group of bees than this, and they have really started to multiply. So what happens when, say, they might outgrow this container, this hive?
So when they outgrow this container, we will try to replace the frames with empty frames so they have more work to do. Bees like to be busy. They want to be working. So when they max out of this and they're out of work to do, then they might swarm. So we'll keep these frames changed out to be just clean frames so that they always feel like they have something to be doing. They have a purpose. They have a job.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
It brings a whole new thing to the phrase busy bee.
Yes, yes.
It's definitely appropriate for
And
these
the
bees.
phrase worker bee, like,
Yeah,
you know, my
definitely.
worker bees and queen bee. And
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's so cool. Thank you for giving us a little bit of information about our
Sure.
bees. Next time you come to the library, you can look for all the things that Hannah told us. And you can we also have a hive that sits inside the library where you can pull up frames and see pictures and learn more about the bees as well. So we hope you guys stop by sometime this week. Watch this video, stop by so you can see those things for yourself. And we're so excited to watch our bees grow and work because it's been such a cool thing to see. I wasn't quite sure about bees at first, Hannah, but honestly, it's been so fun. They're like our babies. We're like, how are the bees today? Are they doing good? So it's been really, really cool. And thank you so much for helping us out.
Sure, anytime.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys. And remember, do your summer reading. We'll see you later.